Assalamualaikum madam, my name is Aibiwani Medizah Hisham and my student ID is 2021Y132009. I will be presenting our video critique on the movie that we have chosen, which is The Assistant. The Assistant is a 2019 American film directed, produced and edited by Kitty Green. The main character of this movie is Jane, a fresh graduate who got her new job at movie company, which is a very big company. She believed that it is a very good opportunity for her to work at that company, but she never thought that working at that company had evolved her into dealing with many obstacles in her life. This movie only shows us one day working life of Jane at her office. Jane also always get a critic for her boss. Whenever she does something her boss deems a mistake. As Jane was doing her daily job at her office, she realized that there is something off about her boss, and she got noticed that her boss hires a new assistant in his company, so she decided to meet Wilcott, a head of human resources, because she wanted to tell him about what happened and what she believed that had happened in the office. She needs to make things right, but Wilcott did not support her. He just say, "You are new here, you need to be silent, do your work and hear shut." He did not encourage and say positive thing to Jane. Since that day, Jane has had to accept and adapt to the new culture of her working life, as she wanted to work there. At the end of the movie, we can see that the scene where she decided to walk away. Even at that time, she knew the relationship between new assistant and her boss.
So why are you in here trying to throw it all away over this bullshit?
Sorry?
This. Whatever it is. Let's make it official and call it a complaint. Let's assume I were to do the disservice of writing it up for you. So your complaint is as follows. The company hires a new assistant. She's young, and in your opinion, she's very pretty, and she's maybe a little inexperienced. Exactly. They've possibly offered her a job just like that, and they're putting her up in a fancy hotel. Here you are, sitting in my office, stressed out, jealous of some new assistant who's getting more attention than you.
I'm not jealous. I was worried for this girl.
She's a woman. She's a grown woman.
Sorry, yes.
You think a grown woman can't make her own choices?
I never said that.
Because she's a waitress?
Nope, I didn't
What
say that.
then? What then? Listen, honestly, what do you want from me? Tell me what you want me to do here. You want to keep working here?
I do.
Frankly, that's your call. I can file a complaint for you if that's what you want, but I think you know how it would come off.
The first incident that we observe in this movie is domination. The theory regarding the incident is face negotiation domination. It's about Jane going to meet Wilcott, the head of human resources, to file a report. At first, he encouraged Jane to share her concerns, but later he is turning a blind eye to her complaint. He stated that she is jealous, and he also said that Jane has nothing to worry because she is not boss type. This will give an impact on Jane, as she felt unappreciated whenever Wilcott did not support her complaint. She also does not have the ability to express her dissatisfaction with a recently hired assistant because her boss does not follow the term and condition of an employee's job. Otherwise, Jane lost trust in Wilcott, where he was expected to take care of employees' well-being, as he failed to consider and take any action on Jane's complaint. The recommendation that we can take a look at is, as a head of human resources, he should provide an opportunity for employees to file a complaint. He also must consider the issue seriously without regard for their position. Lastly, he should be more responsible when handling his job without taking easy for it.
It's been a long day.
You work hard. He respects you for that.
He said that?
Yes? He told me you're smart. Very smart.
Thanks, but thanks.
The second incident that we obtain in this movie is appreciated. It indicates the theory of politeness in the positive phase of pricing. As the analysis, Jane had called with the boss driver, Ame. During their call, Ame informed Jane that her boss had praised her by saying he respects her work hard and Jane is smart. Jane was overwhelmed by his boss' compliments. The impact are, as she got compliments from her boss, she felt appreciated and overwhelmed. Jane also got motivated by her boss' recognition of her work hard. Thus made Jane became less stressed at work after receiving compliment. The recommendation for this scene is a boss must establish a professional demeanor by individual applauding the work of his staff. The boss should praise Jane more frequently in order to boost her work motivation. He also should offer employees benefit to Jane, such as giving her a break from work for a while since she did a good job.
¿Qué marca es? What, Sí, ya. No. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. I'll fix it.
The third incident that we review in this scene is communication barrier noise. The theory used is the Shannon-Weaver model. This scene shows that Jane had a call with a Spanish woman where Jane is trying to help her vacuum problem. At that time, Jane also does the translation on her computer to speak with a Spanish woman to understand what she means, but Jane got a little bit distracted from her boss' room with the sound of an object being thrown. The impacts of this scenes Jane got distracted while she is translating Spanish to understand what her Spanish client says. Jane also may not focus on the phone resolving a problem for a Spanish woman, which made the Spanish woman disappointed that Jane could not help her. The recommendation that will help these scenes look better is Jane thus should be kept away from the boss room door in order to prevent interruptions when engaging with clients. The boss must scold them in a gentle manner to avoid disturbing his employees. The company must upgrade the software translator to make it easier to interact with the client from other countries.
Now, what did you say to her? What did you say? What the fuck did you say to her? You're filling your head with this bullshit. It's not your job. You have somehow.
Hey, how'd it go?
They told me you were smart.
No way. Oh, that is awesome.
One thing you're good at is ordering salads.
Yeah.
Focus on that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't waste my time.
Assalamualaikum, madam. My name is Farah Ashikin binti Jumain. My student ID is 2021114891. Now, I am going to explain about incident 4 regarding to this movie. First, the incident that related with the scene is bad ethic. This is because of her boss heavily criticized Jane over the phone. The theory that suits with the scene is politeness, which negative phase. There are 3 impacts from the incident, which are: first, Jane will feel unappreciated because her boss compared her quality of work to the former assistant. Next, Jane will feel lack of self-confidence because she got criticized loudly by her boss over the phone in front of her colleagues. Lastly, she will get anxiety due to pressure for her to do well in the future without letting him down again. Next, there are 3 recommendations that can be suggested for improve the situation, which are: her boss should apply the positive phrase by appreciating her work rather than bluntly comparing her to the former assistant for her work performance. Also, he should scold her by using appropriate language where he needs to tell her nicely the mistake that she did without downgrading her. And lastly, her boss should show empathy towards her job because Jane need to handle his personal conflict with his wife, and she always got scolded by his wife every time his wife called the office.
How do I get out of unscripted? I'm serious. Have you spoken to Jonathan in production? Yeah. I heard he wants to. Yeah. Maybe you can put in a good word for you. You know? No, I'll hire externally. There's always one brother.
For the 5th incident on this movie is bullying. The theory that can be related to the incident is politeness with negative phrase. This is shown on the scene where Jane's colleagues left their unwashed dishes in the sink when Jane was washing her dishes at that time. Eventually, Jane need to wash the dishes too. This shows that they indirectly bully Jane to do the chores even though that is not her job to do it. There are 3 impacts to workplace communication, which are: Jane will feel stressed because she had to face the bullying by her colleagues at the workplace. Also, she may be having a lost self-esteem where she was not confident to fight for her right with her colleagues, which make her to obey them. Lastly, she may be demotivated to work that can give effect on her work performance quality because she feels like she needs to do everything on her own. The recommendation that can be suggested to improve the situation are: her colleagues should wash their own dishes while patiently waiting for their turn. Also, her colleagues can apply a positive phrase by asking Jane politely to wash the dishes. And lastly, her colleagues should thank Jane for washing their dishes too.
What?
Can you deal with this?
What is it?
The wife?
Why me? Fine. Hello?
You've lost the cards again.
Sorry?
The credit cards, they're blocked. All of them.
They're blocked?
You must have canceled them.
I'm surely not. Let me get in touch with the bank.
The bank is him. He's doing this.
I mean, you have your personal cards, right?
That's not the point. You're not listening to
I really think that this is a misunderstanding.
Are you listening to me? You're not listening to what I'm saying.
No, I am. I'm trying to help.
Why is he doing this to me? Why?
I really don't.
Why is he doing this to me? He can't hurt me like this.
Are you still there?
Next, the 6th incident is irresponsible. This can be shown from the scene where the male assistant avoids the phone call from his boss wife because he do not want to create a conflict with her, and instead he pushed Jane to answer it. This scene can be related with the theory of face negotiation because the style applied by the male assistant is avoiding, where he avoids the conflict between him and his boss wife, while the style applied by the Jane to the male assistant is obliging, where she decides to give up and willing to answer the phone call instead. There are impacts that can affect the workplace communication, such as the male assistant will create a conflict with Jane because he did not ask Jane nicely to help him, but rather he pushed her to obey him by following his order. Next, he may be interfering with Jane's work. As you can see from the excerpt, he disturbed Jane from doing her work and pushed her to answer the call. Lastly, he will not have enough experience to deal with conflict if he keeps asking Jane to handle his boss wife. For the recommendation, firstly, the male assistant should be considerate towards Jane, since Jane looks busy at that time, so he should politely asking her to answer the phone call for a while, because she had more experience in dealing with her boss wife. Secondly, Jane should reject his order because she had work to do. And also, since the male assistant looked like he had a free time during that time, which he was able to answer the call. Next, the male assistant should nicely answer the call by himself and learn how to handle the conflicts that happen, rather than asking other person to handle it. In conclusion, there are 3 lessons that relate to the movie. First, treat all employees fairly. This can be shown on the scene during Wilcox as human resource manager dominate the discussion with Jane and ignore all of her complaints. This proves that he is being biased towards her and do not take it seriously about what her said because she is just an assistant. Therefore, we should be responsible and ethical in handling the job when we are holding a higher position. We must treat all employees fairly even the employees come from different level position. This is to create a good working environment for all of the employees where can highly motivate them to produce a good quality of work. Secondly, compliment others professionally. From the lesson, we can relate to the scene where Amir told Jane that her boss praises her by saying she is smart. It would be better if her boss give compliments to Jane professionally by approaching her and saying it in front of her. We can take this scene as a lesson because by praising other people's hard work in front of them can inspire them for continued improvement and boost their self-confidence, which can lead to employees to improve their work productivity. This is a key to the successful company by creating a positive environment for the employees to work. And lastly, do not be a bully to others. This lesson is taken from the scene where Jane needs to clean up other people's dishes without them asking her nicely. This action where they just put their dishes in the sink and left it behind while Jane was washing her dishes indicates that they do not even respect Jane as colleagues by indirectly bullying her to wash the dishes too. Thus, we should take this scene as a lesson by preventing from creating a bad environment at the workplace, such as be a bully to others' colleagues, either emotionally or mentally. We must always be good to each other and say thanks every time our colleagues do something nice for us. This can lead to have a good relationship with other colleagues by ensuring smoother workplace and able to accomplish success in a long run at the workplace. That's all from us. Thank you.